I think one thing that has changed from you starting out in the 70s, come all the way to 2021. Right? I was born in 84, so I know you got kids my age.
Mm-hmm.
But the thing about it is, I think one of the things that has changed from your time, your era from when you started to now, is that now we have accessibility to everything. Meaning, we have so much information. We live in the information age where it's so much. When you say, like, you gave the simple principle of, hey, if I had $100,000, this is how I would go, right? Now today, people come to you and say, hey, you don't need a stockbroker. You can go buy a REIT, right? Real estate investment trust, and it'll generate you this much money a month, right? How would you look at buying hard-held real estate assets versus going to get a REIT?
Well, I would blend my my portfolio. In other words, if you invest in a REIT, you're not in any control. You're at the mercy of others. If you own your property, you're at your own mercy, so to speak. So it's up to you to make a decision as to your appetite and willingness to get involved. Now, if I'm an executive at a corporation and I have a nice paycheck, and I don't have the time or the interest or the expertise to jump into major real estate, then yes, you feel safer putting it in the market or with a REIT. That's understandable. I would rather control my own investments than to have somebody else control my investments. Personally, that's me. And so I'd rather have my money working for me in a direction that I can control because I'm an entrepreneur. That's what I do. I'm not a
passive.
I'm not a job holder, so to speak. You see, I'm not knocking it, as people do very well in some of their jobs, but they are paycheck to paycheck when it's all said and done. Because as wealthy as you may feel, you're still getting certain checks in, but you're also finding yourself purchasing things and getting into a lifestyle that requires you to be able to sustain. And if you're going to sustain, you have to have that income. Well, if that's snatched away from you, for example, if I was an executive in the cruise lines and suddenly all my cruise ships just stop and there's a major layoff at all levels because it was indefinite as to when they would need my expertise within a cruise line, then I'm sort of looking for government assistance at that point.
Okay, well, I gotta ask you this question, right? When you look at your investments and portfolios, right? You're going into we're in 2021 right now. You spoke about it. You've been holding this particular property we own right now for over a decade, and looking at this, the housing market or just the real estate market in general is just boom, right? As an actioneer, how do you take that? Do you wait for the downturn? Do you jump on it? You take action now? What type of action would you take right now? Do you think the real estate market, well, it's simple way to ask. The 2021, do you believe we at a peak, going for a bubble? How do you feel about real estate?
Well, I don't think commercial real estate is at a peak. I think housing in nice neighborhoods are certainly at a peak, and not at a peak, but in a growing position, if you will. I think that if you're clever, you have to look at how to pivot. For example, in the hotel, this is a great location. I mean, it's a wonderful location for to convert some of those rooms into residential condos or apartments, literally. And if I do that, then maybe I could still keep half the hotel as a hotel. I have a bar, a restaurant, and a conference center. I could take each and every one of those and make those profit centers, so I could convert this into a true mixed-use facility. I also am sitting on just under 4 acres of land, and I can build 2 towers with underground parking, and then another 280 apartments and condos. So the asset has a variety of opportunities if that's something that I choose to take. Or I could sell it and then take those proceeds to my properties in the Bahamas and continue to grow my Bahamas properties. And that may be a more interesting place to invest because it has year-round capabilities. A lot of Americans and people around the world are looking at if there's another COVID-19 type scenario, then people might say, you know what, if I'm gonna have to stay in a house, I don't want to do it in upstate New York. I'm gonna do it at my house in the Bahamas. And I'll just be there for a year and be done with it.
Well, speaking of your house in the Bahamas, the Roberts Castle, I hear you had these amazing New Year's parties, right?
Yes.
And I never got an invitation to any of these parties.
Okay.
What's up with that, Mr. Roberts? I'm not cool enough to get on the list?
Well, that's not the case. And I'm not saying you're not pretty enough either. So since you're gonna start it, I'm gonna finish it. No, but it's the eve of New Year's Eve, and I have people come from all over the world really who come to it, and it's a great networking, and it's a great excuse for people to
get out.
Come there, and it works out. But my primary development in the Bahamas is Roberts Isle, which is a
Roberts what now?
Roberts Isle. It's called.
Roberts Isle. Okay.
Yeah, it's a parcel of property where I've built already 2 buildings that have 18 units on it and 2 houses, and I have another 54 or 56 to build. But I've stopped building because of the recession and then this, of course. But there's always new resources. In St. Louis, I have a strip shopping center that was struggling last year, but now, as of now, it's 100% occupied. So I have different investments, some in Columbia, South Carolina, which I have to address now. It's a beautiful office building that used to be where I housed a TV station. I sold the station, and it's now a building that I need an adaptable reuse for it. So I'm creating a tech center to connect with the HBCU colleges in the area, Benedict College, Allen, South Carolina State, and have it so that our HBCU students can have a place to really experience business opportunities in the future. It's going to be tech related, and so I think for our students have always had challenges to be relevant, if you will. I mean, you can get a degree in history, but is it better to get a degree in cybersecurity? And we have to begin to move our students in the HBCUs in that direction of having more of a
high demand field.
In the future, that's why studying in STEM, science, technology, engineering and math. I mean, these things are real now, and the future holds wonderful returns for them if they study in those directions. I mean, what I found is when President Obama put me on the National Advisory Council for Innovation and Entrepreneurship, many of the larger white colleges had representatives there. There was only 26 of us. But presidents of MIT and Michigan, University of Michigan and Georgia Tech. And there was only one other African American on it. I'm the serial entrepreneur, and he was dean of the business school at Howard. But what I saw was that all of those schools were creating these, or had created and for a long time had it, these tech facilities and training and where kids could go in and experiment in futuristic type businesses, research, etc. And so what I think we have to do is create a hub where our students can come and get exposure to those who are in the tech industry, especially in corporations who have chief technical officers, CTOs they call them, who can come to a facility and lecture to our students and be able to give them some actual experience, and maybe be able to start to create intern programs in the tech fields for our HBCU students.
Okay. Now, you brought up being put on the council by President Obama. For the audience out there, what was your tie to former President Obama? How did that kind of happen?
Well, the way I met him was I did a fundraiser when he was running for the Senate, the United States Senate. I'm in St. Louis. Across the river is East St. Louis in Illinois. He was running for Senator of United States Senator of Illinois. And my cousins out of Chicago knew him and asked me to have a fundraiser for him, which I did in St. Louis at my hotel in St. Louis. And from that, we developed a friendship. So when he chose to run for president, we also were involved in a fundraiser too in our town. Yeah.
And that was the start of. Did you know, was president even in the sight at the time, or he was just senator?
In his mind, I'm sure it was. We were just happy to see a black man get elected to the United States Senate from Illinois. I mean, that's one step at a time. I mean, I'm a former elected official myself. When I finished law school, I moved 2 blocks from the projects where I lived for 10 years and was elected to the St. Louis Board of Aldermen, the city council. And so I've always created this orbit of political people wherever I am, whatever businesses, whatever city I go to. I go get to know the mayor and the council and other elected officials, because I never know when I may need them to assist me in, for example, reassessing my taxes, my real estate taxes. There's little things like that people sleep. When you buy some property and you get this huge amount of, suddenly you have unexpected costs like higher taxes. You got to know strategically what you're going to do about that. And strategically what you do is you move in politically and you get friends to talk to the assessor, and you do what you need to have those taxes lowered.